All right, I think we're about to get started. We ready to go?
Ready to go.
Do we have a theme song?
Dun, 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 dun.
Dun, dun. Hey, house band. All right,
They're already on a break.
All right. I thought if we could get them, they could play our intro song.
Yep.
All right. All right, well, everybody, hey, listen, welcome to Ceviche. We're here for the very first Coach's Corner show of the 20... Can we go all the way into 21?
2021? No.
20?
Just 20.
Just 20. The 2020 football season, we are finally back playing football here for Milton High School. We had a very nice win. Adam is my co-host. Of course, the person we're all here to see.
Yeah, not me and you.
Not us. We are just the hired interviewees.
That's right. We're the candy for the coach to hang out next to. Thank you to our sponsor, Ceviche, for hosting another great event. We're excited to be here. The margaritas are cold and the chips are hot. So it's a nice night here. Another great weekend and coming off a nice big win off our first game. But before we get too far into the, I want to let one as a kind of housekeeping tip. Everyone, if at the end of the night you would put your receipt into the mauve, pink, champagne, or red box right here, we're gonna. It would help us out, and we'll get credit for the crowd that we brought in tonight. So
it is important to note that the more you eat and drink, the more money comes back to the program.
yes. So
Right?
please drink
yes,
up.
Yes. And for those of you that are children here, accompanied by your parents, that means we're gonna go large cheese dips tonight.
Yeah. Don't mess around.
No small cheese dips. We're going big cheese dips, and if they'll let you, let them make the guacamole at the table.
Yep.
That always adds a little extra to the bill. Help the program out, right?
Yeah. Run up those
Absolutely.
bills.
All right. So, Coach, where were we at the end of last season? It's been a while since we've seen each other. Has anything been going on? Anything happened? Anything we need to know about?
It's been pretty casual.
Pretty casual, pretty quiet.
Business as usual.
Pretty business as usual.
Yeah,
Just a normal off season.
just a normal off season.
All right.
Yeah.
We decided that we were
Rinse and
going to
repeat.
start because we need to kind of begin and then move. Talk us through how your preparation for the season began, right? Because this is basically year-round for you
Right.
from a program perspective. We only really talk to you during the course of the season. Then you go into what is your off-season, and you're really into preparations for the coming fall. That got upended for you because of that Coco.
That's right. Yeah, and we put a lot into 365, the whole thing, from January all the way to December. We've got a plan and we got a blueprint and we've got a formula we like to follow, and that really got upended, as you said, in March. We were in the middle of great winter workouts, so we went like the rest of the world, and we went virtual and started having leadership meetings and scheme meetings and posting workouts for the boys. We had some great sponsors who helped. Some of the guys work out and some of the gyms and things like that when they could. But all the way through the summer, all the way even up until game day, we're constantly battling, sudden change elements. We get shut down from time to time. You're constantly worried and playing the what-if game of if we have a potential quarantine situation. Like I said, we've had 2 of them. But again, the kids, what I would say about them and the coaches, they've handled everything in stride with positive attitudes and just the what's next mentality.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that kind of showed, on Friday night or Thursday night, because I really believe here we are. We sit in the middle of September after one game, and we're right where we need to be to attack a season. So it's off to them.
Let me ask you this, and this is because we've talked about leadership stuff before. We've talked about your approach to coaching. You talk about how sometimes the lessons that you learn on the field are lessons that you take off the field. This has been such a unique circumstance. How do you manage that as a coach and recognizing the position of influence that you have to say, okay, this challenge that we face is a challenge that every other program is facing. This isn't a kid with a knee injury in theory. It's not the kind of thing that can impact one team. It's something that's impacting not just your team, but really the community at large. Does that present to you a new set of challenges? And if so, who are the people that you rely on to kind of get you through some of those moments?
Yeah, and I think the very first thing that we did is we wanted to look at it as this could be an opportunity for us. The obstacle can become the opportunity in the fact that we have a set culture. We have a great coaching staff and a great admin staff, a great board, great support, and we challenge the guys. Like the team that weathers this and responds to these situations the best, because we're all doing it all the way to the NFL level. This is really cool because we're all getting a case study at the same time. Can we weather these things and actually maybe come closer as a team in some ways? Learn to handle adversity and the unknown even better, because it's going to happen to you on Friday night. It's going to happen to you in life. So can we use that as a positive and get ahead of other teams? By having that mentality and taking those life lessons. So for sure, that's definitely something that we've talked a lot about.
Excellent.
No, so it was an interesting offseason, to say the least, but it's something felt incredibly good come Thursday night. Sitting in the stands, watching the game, watching the team take the field, watching you out there, it felt right. And for the long time, since March, I don't know how many times it's felt right in general. So it was really great to see you guys back out there. It does seem like we seeing a lot of new faces on the team. Maybe you can tell about some of the players that have joined the team. It seems like some of the new players are having an impact right away.
Oh, for sure. And that's the nature of high school football, year in and year out. You got great senior classes that are going to come and go, and so it's time for new guys to step up. And yeah, we had contributors on both sides of the ball and special teams, galore. Of course, you have the LT, who's got a lot of notoriety, and rightfully so. We talked a little bit about that, and hard many times to exceed expectations when expectations are so high. But I think he definitely made an immediate impact. Had young guys, juniors, stepping up. Owen Pauly. Stepping up as an outside backer. Adam Freeze. I'm seeing parents here and making me think of their guys. And so those juniors who are stepping up, getting their role for the first time. Seniors, veterans who are stepping in and serving and doing what we knew they could do. Connor Gay. We got Matt Everett. Guys like that who are stepping in, stepping up. And then the guys that you're really excited to see in the backfield with Jordan McDonald had an okay night, and Devin. I thought Devin played a great first game. So couldn't sit here and name every single one, but there were a lot of contributors. I think we had 7 people carry the ball. 4 different people scored touchdowns, ton of tackles and sacks and interceptions, 3 interceptions throughout the night. So tons of contributors and a lot of new faces.
So talk about that process a little bit when you do have turnover. When we were talking inside, you talked about the year after the championship, you lost 98% of your points from one year to the next, right? And you're trying to recreate that. So what is the line that you walk to say, offensively, this is how I approach the game. Defensively, this is how I approach the game. But the talent that you have to you year to year may not match what your preferences are. So how does that work with you and your coaching staff to say, all right, when we get out there and we see how these kids really work together, what's our challenge to grow as a coaching staff to really best utilize the talents that we have available to us this season?
Oh, for sure. And I think, to me, of 3 or 4 of the most important things, if you talk about coaching a football team, but you talk specifically about a high school football team, that's got to be on the high priority list. Is you can't just say, this is who we are, this is what we do year in and year out. You've got to adjust to your talent. One of the big key process things that we do is, a postseason reflection and a kind of a look forward. What were we? What did we do well? What do we need to work on? And who are we going to be going forward? And we do that every single year with the staff, and they have to write me their reflect. I'll give it back to them, mine, and that's something we talk about. And if you just flip the page back to last year, we even made the theme of the season Built Different, because we knew that was a huge challenge coming forward. And when you lose a lot of explosive players on the perimeter and a prolific quarterback like Jordan Yates, who'd been a 3-year starter. So we knew we would have to build that team different in a different identity, so to speak. And then you hit on another great point. And I think this season is really set up great for us to do exactly what you said, is focus on us these first 3 to 4 games, non-region games. We don't have a lot of film. We don't have a lot of understanding on these opponents. So we're going to go into the game looking back at, this is who we said we wanted to be. Let's find out exactly what we can and cannot do well, what the players can and cannot do well. So when we hit region, we have a clear understanding. This is us. This is what we're going to do and what we're going to highlight. And you're just going to have to beat us being better at what we do.
All right.
So with that in mind, when you look at this team's personality and you look at your player set that you have, I get that you're still learning who they are, but where are your strengths and where do you think we're going to see out of this team this year? It looks, on Friday night, the explosive second half, it looked like there was something very special that was happening there.
Well, the theme of this year is going to be so much fun. And that is a very, meta kind of thought process, because the number one thing is when you talk to them about why you love playing football, what was taken away from you in March, man, it's just fun being around the guys. It's fun being out there, and they need to tap into that. And the second thing is, I truly believe when the energy's high, when you're having a attack mentality, things are more fun, and I think the play follows. So we want to definitely, and we put a lot of work into developing a very explosive mindset in our offense, being able to take those shots downfield like we did the other night, set up off a strong running game. We're also not going to be afraid to, throw out some gadget plays and have fun with things like that as well. And that's going to translate over to the defense of being an attack mindset, trying to create those turnovers, which we were able to. We talked a little bit about, and I think that happens when your defense is flying around and you're getting after the quarterback, and then it pulls into special teams as well. We say pressure burst pipes, so we're going to try to apply as much pressure as we can in every phase of the game, and it may just be just for the heck of it 2-point conversion when you flip it out there to your defensive end and let him run it in. And the whole point of that, guys, was that doesn't really make a whole lot of football sense in that moment. There wasn't some big strategy. It was a mindset that we're trying to develop. We're going to work these things, but they're going to be fun, they're going to be sound, and I want you to play that way, kind of giving the zero cares about, am I going to make a mistake going 100 miles an hour, because a lot of good things are going to happen.
That's great. Now, when with this game, as we drill down to kind of the last game that we played, it did seem that, like, in the first half we were offensively a little bit slower in the first half, and then the second half we came out just exploded with offense. What were you doing in the first half to build the explosion in the second half? And then what did we change?
What did we say in the locker room?
Yeah.
At halftime, what happened?
Because whatever it was powerful.
Something must have gone on.
Well, I don't think since I've been at Milton one time I've ever had to really come in and rip the team, if you will, at halftime. That'll only happen if effort's not there, if it's a clear lack of focus or something like that, and I feel like we got to send a message. I thought it was a perfect first game, because the guys who may not know, we're going to come in at halftime, we're going to look at what we've done, what we can do, take a deep breath, and if we feel confident in what we're doing, hey, we're going to stay the course, and we did. When you look at that, if you really drill down and look at the first half and take the scoreboard away, you would see that there were a lot of really good purpose plays in that half. We did establish the running game. I think we had something like 65 yards on like 13 carries. We were pitching and catching a little bit. Offense is one of those finicky things. You can have a great drive, 6 great plays in a row, but one bad one will kill the drive. Defense, conversely, you can kind of get punched in the face going down the field and then step up and no points are on the board. So it's kind of a hard thing psychologically to look at that scoreboard and see zeros, but what we did is give our kids confidence that, no, we're right where we want to be. We get the ball starting off. All it's going to take is one. And then because we had set up kind of what I was talking about, our mid zone run, kind of that off tackle run that sets up the play actions and the bootlegs and the keepers and things like that, which was able to get the explosive plays going in the second half.
So many turnovers in the game. It was amazing. We got a bunch of interceptions, a couple of fumbles. It seemed like the interceptions were coming every other play for a while there in the second half. Is that something you're focusing on as far as, are you working on interceptions more than fumbles? Are you working on the turnovers? How's that playing out in how you're coaching?
So, yeah.
Look different.
So, we go through our keys to victory, and there's 7 keys of basic football, kind of who we want to be, and one of those is it's all about the ball. So, you don't have to be a football expert to know that turnovers is the most important, other than the points on the board. It's the most important stat in the game. If you can be +1 in turnovers, you got a good shot at winning a lot of football games. So when we looked at the data last year, we put a lot of emphasis on in practice. First guy wraps up the ball carrier, second guy strips, and we create a lot of turnovers that way. But we were really kind of even, if you will, in our turnover margin last year, and the glaring thing was the lack of interceptions. A lot of people would think maybe, well, that means your DBs aren't catching it or they're not breaking on the ball, but I look at it more as interceptions are going to come from pressure. When you can force that quarterback to make a bad decision or you put him under duress, those balls will kind of get thrown in bad places. And if you saw the interceptions from the other night, it was a tip ball, it was an overthrow, and then it was just another one was just one heck of a play, carrying the receiver up the sideline and made a heck of a play there. So the pressure, I think, definitely made a huge impact.
Yeah.
I have to tell you, that whole idea of the strip the ball thing, and I know this has really nothing to do to just as an adult watching football, it seems like the guy trying to strip the ball doesn't realize that there's not a person doing the wrap-up part.
Yeah. Well,
so you're like, you're guy number 1. You're supposed to wrap up. It's guy number 2 that's supposed to come and get the ball.
Hey, that's the risk reward.
Yeah.
And it's something that we put a lot of thought into. And I'll be honest, 4 years ago, I probably sat right where you would say the same thing. But I think if you really go back and look at the emphasis we put on it and the fact that we practice it that way.
Oh, yeah.
We have a 2-whistle system when we are on Team D, and the first whistle signifies that the ball has been stopped, but the second whistle doesn't happen until everybody's running to the ball and the people who are already there are trying to rip it and pull it out.
Well, so talk about that part of it specifically. That type of approach, a 2-whistle system, is that a circumstance where it's just trying to instill sort of a certain expectation of how we want things done?
It's a mindset. It's a mentality. When you're obsessed about where the football is, it may seem like, oh, everybody does that, but you'd be surprised at how teachable it is because you see it come out. And now all of a sudden guys are just constantly looking for the ball and thinking if the ball carrier's still going, if he's secured, that second guy to the pile can rip it out. But the other thing that the 2-whistle system will do is it teaches our guys to constantly run to the ball. And then that takes up for maybe we do miss a tackle here and there because we're overemphasizing the strip, but that's where the 3rd, 4th, 5th guy running to the ball makes up for it.
That seems to me is the coaching challenge,
Yep.
right? Because you're wanting the kids to play a certain way, generally speaking, right? And it seems like over the last several years at all levels of football, there's a bigger emphasis on stripping the ball, where it used to maybe be like, okay, we're going to whistle dead. The flip side of that is, does that help you then offensively, thinking in terms of securing the ball?
Yeah, I mean you're all over it. We've noticed that since we've been doing that. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I think it's the ball is out 3 times more for our opponent than for us.
Wow.
Meaning, I think last year we put the ball on the ground 8 times. Maybe we lost 5 of them. And I think we got the ball on the ground something like 24 to 25 times.
Wow.
Right.
And again, if you're going to tell me that turnovers is the most important thing, then we got to be doing a great job of A, protecting the football, and B, getting it out on the ground and taking it away.
Yeah.
So, walk us through a game like tonight. Like, what are you doing on the sidelines as a head coach? You got the guy in the booth talking down to you. Are you analyzing the plays? There was one moment in the game where from the stands at least, it looked like you were talking to the officials about, and you kept making kind of like a hiking sign, and then all three of the officials were talking to you for quite some time, and then the white hat seemed to come over and look at you, and you almost immediately had agreement when the white hat came over, but the three guys you were talking to before, like, what's the life of the head coach on the sidelines?
Well, it sucks when I got to do their job for them.
Yeah.
And there is a rule emphasis, and it's part of our coaching clinic, our rules clinic, and I made sure I made note of it. So if I have a tight end on the ball, let's say, and then I have a second tight end or fullback who aligns with his head that breaks his hip. So it looks like he almost covers him up.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
But he's off the ball. They're calling that no man's land, and they want to make an emphasis to have that fullback wing to have clear separation in the backfield.
Okay.
Fair enough. The official got it backwards. He thought that he had to be all the way in the backfield to the level of the quarterback or the running back, which would have taken half of our plays and made them illegal formations.
Right.
So it was a pretty big deal when he was telling me that we were lined up illegally. So we were going back and forth, and I was just trying to politely explain to him that I think he has the rule wrong.
Yeah.
And finally the white hat came over and was like, no, yeah, coach is right.
Yeah, it was there was a long-term debate with the three of it, and then the white hat came over and said yes, and it broke up.
I should have asked for my darn timeout back.
Yeah, exactly.
I had to burn a timeout.
But what else in the coaches? What are you doing during the game? Are you trying to read tendencies? Are you trying, like, you got a lot of people talking to you? How do you kind of feel general that sideline?
The biggest thing I got going for me is I got three great coordinators, offense, defense, and special teams who take a lot of the micro level decisions out. Now, Coach Reeves and myself and Coach Silvestri, the special teams coordinator, we're constantly in communication about kind of what we may want to do. But I actually try to interject less with Coach Reeves because I want him to find his rhythm and play calling. But the biggest thing that I'm probably doing is thinking about game management. Are we in 4-down territory here, so I can communicate that? Are we, maybe thinking something aggressive on special teams here? Are we playing field position? Is it a 2-minute situation? Are we hurrying up? Are we slowing the game down? And then just kind of reading our kids and things like that. So more of the macro level kind of stuff as far as game management goes.
Yeah.
Is what I'm definitely focusing on the most.
Yeah. Another thing we're seeing now is kind of our team is trending a little bit younger this year, and is that, I know that feeder program was one of the things that was a real emphasis for you when you came to the school. Are you starting to see the results of that feeder program in your sophomores, your freshmen, and your juniors?
Oh, there's no doubt. I mean, and again, the feeder program to me, the biggest piece is the culture piece, and those guys from 6th, 7th, and 8th grade seeing the varsity, being a part of the team, being able to work with them in off-season conditioning and lifting and things like that. I think it helps your numbers. It helps for buy-in. It just helps with the overall pride of the brand. And I think there's no doubt there's a huge impact there.
Yeah, it looks like the feeder program had a pretty good week too.
Yeah, they did all right. It looks like. So,
yeah, 60-0.
Is there somebody from the feeder program here?
Yeah, I don't
Okay,
know.
because those seem like set-up questions.
Yeah, they were having a pretty good game.
I don't know. I do have a question though, relative. So, all right. So as these kids progress through, some will get to go on and play at the next level. Others, their completion of their Milton participation will be the end of their football careers. Are there kids that you see now that you identify as good potential future coaches, or kids who have identified that that's something that they have an interest in? And if so, is there something that you do to interact with those kids a little differently to say, here's something that I'm thinking about as a coach that may be helpful to you as you kind of move on?
There's no. That's a great question. You definitely can identify, some of those traits. And there will be some who will come up kind of as they kind of get into their senior year, start talking about that. I just think naturally what we do and how we operate, all the leadership roles that we provide, all the training, all the off-field studying, meetings and things like that. the way we try to just teach them the game, whether it be taking the entire team and literally starting on the 1 yard line backed up and saying this is this field zone, these are the things that you should expect, and going all the way down until we get into the opposite red zone. All those type of things, the little nuanced rules that we look at, and I think we just teach our kids the game and build a football IQ. But yeah, if they ever were to come to me and say, I really want to coach, the following spring, we've actually had guys come back out their senior year and help work with guys and give them roles like that. So
I got you. Cool.
Well, I mean, it was fun to see football back at Milton. It was fun to be back on the field. There was some question, I think, earlier in the year whether we were going to get here. So it was a huge turn to see the team take the field, to see your big win. It was powerful. I'm looking forward to this week. What can we look forward to the next matchup this week?
Yeah, so we got Hapeville Charter. Got to see them a little bit on Friday night, play North Forsyth, a really good North Forsyth team. We knew they would be good this year after playing them last year. The thing about them is they've got some really good athletes. Couple of 4-star, 5-star caliber guys with big offers, and they deserve those, especially on their defensive line and some of their skill guys on offense. So, can hurt you at any moment. You let your guard down. I think our advantage will come with our depth. It's them being a smaller school, they just don't quite have the numbers that we have. But if you were to take the top 10 from each team and line them up, they'd look very similar. So, I think important for us is to get started fast this week, and try to get on them, and just get our game established, and put doubt in their mind and force them to have to come from behind.
Well, I'm looking forward to it, Coach. Thanks for giving us another great. Oh, we got one more. Jerry?
I have one question, and I feel are we close to the end?
Yeah, we can be.
Or is the other band? I keep looking over
Our
at
house
the guitar
band
people
coming
over
back
there,
out in a
and until I
minute.
see guys sitting ready to play guitar, I feel like we could keep talking. All right, and I think this is pertinent to where we find ourselves. So as we began, maybe is how we end. There are a lot of times where coaches and teams will talk about the impact and the significance of the fans. And you sort of hear the metaphor, the cliche about the 12th man, right? This year, and the circumstance I think that we find ourselves in, particularly as we get closer to going back to face for a lot of these kids, I would argue that that's no longer a hypothetical. That in point of fact, the way that the students conduct themselves back in the school, the way they conduct themselves on their week-to-week basis, can have a direct impact on whether or not the team plays on Friday night. So talk a little bit about how this year, in that respect, it's that much more important for the way people support the program by the way they're conducting themselves between games has a significant impact, particularly within their peer group.
Well, for sure. I mean, the ripple effects of risky behavior, is going to stretch its tentacles pretty wide this year. And again, risky behavior just because of COVID, not that they're doing anything that normal
kids
in the community would be doing. So, we after this last shutdown, we had a great talk with our team, with our parents, with everybody about, hey, these are just going to be some expectations. And honestly, me giving the players the ability to hold each other accountable. And so, they'll just communicate with me if they know someone's maybe put themselves at risk or we want to have a conversation about it. And that hopefully will help us know that, there is accountability to have safer social activities, and just if there's other people within the school who aren't, I gotta make that sacrifice this year to kind of separate myself socially.
Well, and it would seem as though one of the things that I think the school has done a very good job of and has been very proactive about and has gotten a lot of buy-in on is the whole concept of repping the M.
Yep.
So this year, the football team's conduct helps the cross-country team's ability to have their meets.
Right.
And the conduct of the softball team helps the football team be able to play on Fridays. So it seemingly is a more expanded role, and that everybody is able to help everybody
That's right.
stay on task and to be able to do the things that are so important to these kids, both getting back in the classroom and being able to do the activities that are so important to them.
Yeah, no, it's definitely, we're all in it together. That's
And one of the things I like about how you've dealt with that issue on your team is allowed the team itself, the leadership within your team, to police themselves, and it says, this is another leadership growth opportunity for them to say, let's be responsible, let's not, and to police themselves in a way that I think is really, really effective.
Right. Yeah. And again, it was never meant to, create a police state, if you
Right.
will,
Yeah,
or anything like that. But I mean, hey, it's these seniors' last ride. It's these juniors and sophomores who have great opportunities in front of them. And I mean, we put, we did somebody crunched the numbers one time for a football team. You practice and you prepare and you lift and you do all that 99.6% of the time. Like, the game is literally 48 minutes. There's 10 of them, 9 of them this year, and the actual time played is probably closer for a starter to 8 minutes, if you think about it, with all the time that runs. Actual game snaps played. So, if you're going to put all that work in, we can put
For your 8 minutes, yeah.
we can put a little more work in to just make that sacrifice, that social sacrifice, because hey, there's nothing any more fun than what we do on Friday nights.
No.
And the collective. What's beautiful about football is just such a collective, team-oriented goal. All these guys working together, not only off the field but also on the field. So, it's like you said, it's a great opportunity for them to sacrifice for that and to hold each other accountable.
Yeah, it's been an interesting endeavor on both the kids and also the faculty and the community in general. It is nice that we can all kind of take care of each other and police each other in this state. And by the way, the result of all your hard work and the result of some kid not going to a party in Athens is me getting to watch that game on Thursday.
That's right.
And so I thank them for that, right?
Absolutely.
All right,
Absolutely.
so I don't know, is this going to be posted before our next game? It will be? Could be?
No, definitely.
Should be?
Yeah, it will be.
Okay.
Why do you want to give a
I
little
have
game
a question.
strategy?
I do. I want to ask a legitimate game question. So at the point you're gonna have to edit this next portion out. Okay. So we're gonna.
Maybe go off mic. No.
Yeah. No. We'll stay on mic. All right. First offensive play, next game. Are we run or pass?
It's going to be a double reverse throwback bomb.
Sweet.
Right now.
Yes.
That'll be so
Just
cool.
like I drew it up.
Yep.
Yep, that'll be awesome. Break their hearts early.
All right. Before we go, does anybody here have a question that they'd like to ask? Anybody have a question that they are curious about? Anybody? Nobody? You guys? Nothing?
No.
Opportunity.
All right, Coach,
All right.
Thanks so much for having us, and thanks to Ceviche for hosting the party. Thanks for all of you guys for coming out and
Continue to
supporting the
support
Milton
the
football
program.
program. It was a lot of fun. You're going to have another fun one this week. Rep the M. Go Eagles.
Let's go.
All right. Thank you, Coach Clack. I'm Jamie. He's Adam. This is the Coaches Show.